Okay, first Lesta devblog though. They already nerfed the French subs, by the way. They undid that retarded concealment shit. They undid it. Removed main gun reload booster. Concealment nerfed. From 4.6, 5.7. Consumable removed. 5.9 conceal. Okay, God bless. They no longer outspot DDs. That was, like, this was fucking retarded. I'm glad they undid it, really. I don't know why they even needed to test that it was retarded, but I'm glad they instantly undid it. I'm glad they undid it. So that was the Lesta one. Let me boot up the EU client so we can dive into all the EU devblogs, because there's a lot of them. There is a lot of them. Okay, let's see. We start with the 14.2 one. So that's the one that's... Is that next patch? Close test 14.2. We're at 14.1. When is this patch coming? Let's see, let's move this over here. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still hate the subs, but at least they're not going to be outspotting DDs anymore, so... Because that was really the biggest negative in that entire devblog. The Lesta devblog with the Falkenhayn and all of those new ships. The biggest negative in that devblog were the demented French subs. So they're at least removing their concealment, but they still have their fire starting capability, which I hate, on the torpedoes, which seems demented. Yeah, let me change. Okay, let's go check out the EU devlogs, because there's 2 devlogs. We'll start with the 14.2 one. We are right now on... We are on 14.2, so this way, they're going to put this out on live, I guess? So what are they doing? They're nerfing Blucher. Quite a lot, actually. Oh, it had really fast arming time. Also, it could AP smash destroyers. This change will make it more difficult to deal consistently high damage out of DDs. Okay, so there was too strong against DDs. Blucher got 60 to 55. 55 to 65. That's Stalingrad pin angles. So they gave Blucher Stalingrad pin angles. That's a nerf, though. Was it really overperforming, though? HE got nerfed as well. But was Blucher really an overperforming ship? Like, I looked at the armor scheme on that ship, and I looked at the DPM on that ship, and I was like, eh. Yeah, it no longer has Des Moines angles, now it's got like Stalingrad angles. And Eskimo got nerfed as well. I don't know if Eskimo really looked that strong either, but... Okay. So those 2 hard nerfed. Well, hard nerf. Honestly, this is a pretty hard nerf, because Blucher has super dogshit HE DPM, and it can only... Its whole gimmick is the AP. So nerfing the pen angles on the AP is a pretty significant nerf. The other devlog, though, the one that was posted just now. Balance changes. So this is next patch. 14.3 next patch. Captains. We're applying balance changes to a large number of ships based on analysis of both the combat statistics and player feedback. Okay, let me turn down the music a bit so I can hear better. This time we're focusing on higher tier American light cruisers, Soviet tech tree destroyers, and Pan-American battleships, among others. Is this finally it? Have they finally raked in enough money from their early access fucking Pan-American shit that they're gonna do something about them? Changes to American tech tree cruisers. We have decided to look back at one of the oldest tech tree branches in our game, aiming to increase the level of comfort when helming these cruisers, which boast some of the highest risk/reward playstyles of this class. While being mindful to not disturb the quite acceptable combat effectiveness of their ships, we have decided to expand the turning angles of some of their turrets, enabling them to bring guns to bear more easily when taking evasive action or facing an opponent suddenly approaching from an unexpected angle. Okay. Seems pretty good. I'm not sure if that was really the main issue. I mean, it helps, especially on shit like Seattle. But the issue is the armor. It doesn't help angling the armor too much when it doesn't have any armor. But we'll see. Helena, the first and second main battery turrets can now turn through 6th. That's nice. Widen angles of the first, second, and third main battery gun turrets, counting from the bow. See, the thing is, I think Helena is really, 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 really strong. And of all the ships that needed buffs, I don't think Helena really needed them. I think Helena is a goddamn monster. Like, the only reason Helena doesn't completely dominate light cruisers at tier 7 is because Atlanta exists, which is insane. But, I mean, sure, but Helena is just really good. I'm a bit surprised by this. Helena is actually really good. Like Helena's DPM is really impressive. Like, let me see, maybe HE shells. I'm somewhat surprised to see it because Helena has, how much DPM did Helena have? I thought it like had a it packed the punch. Where is it? Oh, there it is, Helena. Yeah, Helena is there. It's got more HE DPM than Utrecht with main guns at tier 7. I always thought Helena was very good at like, and also, I mean, the issue is being up tiered, but I don't know if firing angle is gonna help in that, because then you're just fighting. The problem is you're fighting ships with heals and you're being overmatched. Those are the issues, not the gun angles, but sure. So buff for that thing. Cleveland, all main battery gun turrets can now have 360 widen angle of all main battery gun turrets. Again, I didn't think Cleveland was a bad ship. I thought Cleveland was really strong. Cleveland getting this kind of buff is kind of wild. But all main turrets, Jesus, that's a big buff. Will Montpellier also get the 360? That's a really good question. Because Montpellier is literally a Cleveland clone that has slightly better dispersion with slightly worse reload. Huh. I wonder if they will give that to the Montpellier as well. Seattle. Now this is the real, honestly, this is the real shit stain of this line, is the Seattle. Seattle is dog shit. And that's because horrendous firing angles, big citadel, and like you have to give a lot of broadside to use your guns. It's just awful because of that. The first, third, and fourth main battery turrets, counting from the bow, can now turn 360 degrees. First, third, and fourth. Third and fourth. It's got 4 turrets, so I guess the back turrets can both... Let me check, where's my Seattle? First, third, and fourth. Okay, so all of these are now 360. That means pushing in is easier, because if you shoot like this, then you need to shoot like this. You no longer need to turn them fully around, because your turret reverse is not very good at 22.5. That's pretty nice for pushing. This one not turning 360 is a bit bad for kiting, but I mean, it could be worse. Widen angles of the third and fourth main gun turrets. So they made it better at pushing. They made it better at going nose in. If they widen this angle, but not these angles. I'm not sure how much that will help. Don't get me wrong. Good buff. I'm glad that they're buffing Seattle. Seattle needs all the love it can get. Seattle is a pretty shit experience. I'm glad they did that. But what they basically have done is they made these 360 and they gave them better angles, which means you're going to be better at pushing into the enemy, but kited, you're still going to be pretty bad. The problem here is you don't really want to push into the enemy in Seattle because, well, I mean, you're 25, so 380s overmatch your entire ship. Your deck armor gets overmatched by 406s. So that's basically every battleship you face at your tier basically overmatches you. You have a significant citadel, an exposed citadel that is significant, which means you get sit nose in extremely easily. So trying to push nose in this thing with this kind of armor means you get devstruck for the nose very easily. And add in shit like Vyazma existing and just all the secondary ships and all the stuff. Like, how often do you really want to push in a Seattle? The only time you really want to push in a Seattle is when you catch some DD in your radar and you want to try to run down that destroyer. But with this armor scheme, most of the time you want to be kited. That's really it. Because your better armor is back here. Your 51 is here. So you'd rather be kited, so the shells that land ideally land around here. And hopefully, like shells, people shooting you when you're kited, hopefully they're landing here and on the angle belt. Whereas nose in, your armor scheme is incredibly underwhelming. I don't really know. Like, don't get me wrong. Well done, Wargaming buffing Seattle. I appreciate it. This is a good change. But making Seattle better at pushing in doesn't really solve Seattle's issues. It doesn't really solve its issues. It's still going to be pretty fucking awful to play. You push when you have already won, you kite when you have to clutch. Basically, you never want to really push in this thing unless you're forced in. Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay, 1 second. Worcester. First, second, fifth, and sixth. Main battery guns, counting from the volcano versus 60. Okay. I hope those weren't Jacksonville buffs. Surely this developer isn't dumb enough to buff Jacksonville, right? I hope it's not. Well, let's see. So the first... Was it first? First, second, fifth, and sixth. First, second, fifth, and sixth are now 360. Okay. I mean, that's not really gonna change anything at all, because unlike Seattle that has a 22.5 second turret traverse, Worcester has an incredibly fast one of 7.2 seconds. Like, this is absurdly fast. I think this is... Yeah, no, this is without anything. Yeah, this is without anything. You literally got a destroyer level turret traverse of 7.2. So this doesn't really change anything about the Worcester. This doesn't change anything about the Worcester. Like, if you're turning your ship the other way, if you're pushing in and you're turning the other way, the time it takes for you to turn your ship, you're already going to have your turrets ready, because it's 7.2 second turret traverse, whereas your rudder is 8.1. So your rudder takes longer than your turrets. You're never going to be in a situation where you manage to outturn your turrets. That doesn't really happen. So that buff isn't really much of a buff. It doesn't change anything about the Worcester at all. It doesn't change anything, which is a bit strange, because, like, Worcester hasn't really seen much play in a long time, because, like, it just gets fisted by so many ships. Switching targets doesn't matter for that either. Once again, 7.2 second turret traverse. Like, you shoot a volley and then you switch. By the time you switch, your guns are basically just reloaded. That's a non-buff. This is a non-existent buff. Jacksonville. The first and second main gun turrets, counting from the bow, can now turn 360 degrees. Please note that the fourth and fifth main battery guns already have this capability. Main gun range reduced by 300. Why did they think Jacksonville needed buffs? I don't get it. Jacksonville already is, like, so absurd. The issue is people just play this thing with smoke. I mean, what doesn't again change too much though, because this thing has that insane turret traverse as well of 7.2. So in terms of gameplay, doesn't really change much. And the 300 meter nerf, again, also doesn't change much. So now looking at this entire change, the strongest ships, which was the Helena and the Cleveland, got the most significant buffs. And the Seattle that needed it the most didn't really get the buff that it needed. And the Worcester and Jacksonville changes don't really do anything. Am I misunderstanding? This feels like changes made by someone who doesn't really play the game. Again, changing the American light cruisers, great idea. Great concept, but what the fuck is this? Like, the best buffs go to the two best kind of ships nowadays. The Seattle change makes it better at pushing. Not that good. The Worcester change doesn't change anything. Jacksonville change doesn't really change anything. Huh? I was kind of hyped already, but this is kind of trash. Whatever. Changes Soviet territory destroyers. Another entry in our set of changes to existing branches. Soviet destroyers have evolved a lot since their initial release, including the addition of the sub-branch culminating in Grozovoi and the replacement of the Tier 10 ship with the original branch with Delny. With the following changes, we aim to address some issues compiled over the years, make the game playstyle of these ships more flexible, and increase the viability of alternative builds. Okay. Firstly, we improved the comfort and usability of the main armament warps of the ships, allowing for smoother gameplay, and especially the transition of the Grozovoi sub-branch, to the Grozovoi sub-branch, if that is the path that appeals to the player more. Furthermore, we have introduced changes to the consumable set of the main branch. Here, the improvement to smoke gen is aimed at supporting the skirmish positional style gameplay incentivized by this consumable. Starting with Kiev and up along the branch, the destroyers get further improved version of smoke generator, allowing for more competitive alternative build options to the highly sought after repair party that is available in the same slot. Okay. Speaking of repair party, we have also extended its availability to the lower tier ships of the branch, allowing players the ability to experiment and try out both and select their preferred playstyle, or perhaps opt for going after the Grossovoy sub-branch to have both consumables. Last but not least, the main culprit being Ognavoy. Yeah, they're replacing... What are they doing? The game plays the Ognavoy is too close to that of a torpedo-focused ship, which makes an awkward transition to the obviously artillery-focused preceding ships and Udaloy. Okay. So they're just changing it. Lesta already did this, where they just removed Grossovoy and they replaced it with a new gunboat. Because Ognavoy is a really poorly thought out ship. Basically, you have a gunboat at tier 7, and then you have a gunboat at tier 9 and 10. But for some reason, the Ognavoy is a dog shit gunboat. It's more of a torpedo boat. So everyone tries to play at gunboat, and then it sucks. So I guess both servers are now addressing this. Reservoir Torps. Okay, Storo gets range, reload. Third traverse buff, nice. And... well, that's an interesting smoke. That's a really long smoke on a very short cooldown in comparison. If you can use the smoke as 35 gap, that's really strong. Derski, 5-second torps, longer reload though in return. Better turret traverse. You can now run heal or smoke, and the smoke gets the buff. Okay. Easy Aslav, same thing. Better torps. Better turret traverse, same options. Podvoisky. Same changes. They nerfed the speed a bit, they nerfed the alpha, but it gets more range. Better turret traverse, smoke and heal. Gnevny, same things. 59 knot torps on Gnevny, interesting. Actually, 60 knots total. 7 cam range. Oh, this gets pretty good actually. 14-4 at tier 6. That's pretty good. They're very stealthy as well. Better turret traverse and smoke. Minsk. 7 chem torps, 14-4, 60 knots. Oh, a big buff to reload as well. Huh. So Minsk torps are really usable now. Minsk torps are really usable now. Turret traverse, buff, smoke or heal. Same parameters on them. Whoa, Ognavoy. They made Ognavoy a gunboat. Big DPM buff. Huge, actually. Torps nerfed. They're shorter, faster, slightly more easier to spot. That's a pretty significant DPM change. That's pretty good. Because ultimately, it didn't fit the rest of the line at all. That's a good change. Kiev, turret traverse buff. Stock torps change, but not researchable ones. Fair enough. So that doesn't really change anything. Smoke generator as an option. 100-second smoke dispersion time, reload time 120. This thing is a lot more viable now. Also, you can 4 charges stock. Ognavoy HEDPM is still going to be pretty bad. Yeah, it is. Huh. 100-second. 20-second gap between smoke and next one. That's pretty strong. This is like full farm cube. Can be pretty good. Tashkent. Okay, they remove stock. New torps are 10 km, 14-4, 2-minute cooldown, 55. Wow, these are like the sea mines of the Kaba. Rudder shift reduced. God bless. God bless. We no longer get outturned by battleships. 5-second rudder on the researchable hull. It's a buff. I mean, it's not huge, but hey, we take it. We take it for sure. Same smoke as well. So farm Tashkent. Interesting. Smoke generator consumable change. They'll only buff. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Zorku also gets the better smokes. So they're just giving them better smoke options. Oh, Mayoko? Mogami Ibuki. Torpedo tube firing angles forward widened by 15 degrees. I mean, it's good. You're still going to get devstruck using them. If you try to use them offensively, you're still going to get devstruck. but I mean, it's a good change. Why would you ever run Smoker or Heal, though, on these DDs? I don't know, Division gameplay. But, yeah, it doesn't really make much sense. The issue really is that the buffs for Smoke are basically non-existent, whereas the buffs for pure DPM are great. Like, Fearless Brawler is one of the strongest buffs in the game. It's 10% raw DPM, just for being spotted. And for gunboats, it's like god tier. It also gives you more flak. Like, it has no downsides. It's just insane. But yeah, better torp angle. Changes to Mayoko book are aimed at increasing the level of comfort when using torps. Therefore, we've decided to extend a similar binding of torpedo angles to lower tier cruisers of the branch. Okay. Is not to significantly increase the combat effectiveness of these ships, nor to invalidate the identity of the sister branch of Japanese light cruisers. Therefore, was limited to a relatively small angle. Okay, but why can they not have more combat effectiveness now? Why is it the problem if these things have more combat effectiveness? Like, Ibuki is the second worst performing cruiser in the game. Like, all the old ones are here. And then the super cruisers are up here. Like, is it so bad if it performs a bit better? Is it like the end of the world if suddenly the ship performs better? Like, looking at the last 3 patches server statistics on EU, the worst performing tier 7 to 9 cruisers, we have Ibuki, 4th worst cruiser from tier 7 to tier 9 in the entire game. And then we got, of course, Seattle here that we talked about earlier. So is it really so bad if these guys get a bit more combat effectiveness considering how fucking dogshit they are? Like, is it really a disaster if that happens? Like, is it a problem if Mogami it doesn't sit at 49%? Or Ibuki is really the biggest culprit. Ibuki is so fucking bad in the current meta. It has no armor. Terrible firing angles, terrible DPM. Like, Ibuki's got nothing going for it. Is it really such a tragedy if the combat effectiveness of the Ibuki goes up a bit? Like, come on. Ipiranga. Fixed an issue where researchable upper belt was thicker than end of the stock hull. Engine parameters changed. The ship will retain enhanced acceleration parameters, but will no longer be able to sustain high speed during turns. So how do they do this then? So I think what they're doing is they're tuning down engine power. That's because that's the only thing they have in the game. They got engine power. That's how they tweak these things. And right now these things are basically race cars. They take off like rocket ships and they don't lose any speed in turns. So the idea is that I think they're tuning down engine power a bit, which is going to nerf the acceleration a bit, but it's going to make so when you turn, you no longer maintain full speed. That's not really much of a change, considering the issue is more the handling and the armor than anything. What's end is... Oh, here we go. Secondary nerf. 5 to 6.4 seconds on the small guns. They don't really do much. 11 to 14 seconds on the big guns. That's a pretty significant DPM change. The issue is, of course, still that this thing can't really be Citadel. Like, it just almost impossible to Citadel. The armor on these cars is completely bonkers wild. It gets the same engine parameters. Wait, Libertad only gets the engine parameters change. Huh? That's it? That's it? That's the grand change needed? We don't need anything else for gaming, is that it? Are you sure about this? That's it. Really? I don't mean to be rude here, Wargaming, but if you look at the last update on EU, the most played ship on the entire the most played battleship on the entire fucking EU server was Libertad. So popularity fucking insane. Win rate also 52.2, which is really fucking high when you consider how much it's being played. And the only thing you're doing to it is tuning the engine power a bit. Hello? I mean, you have Los Andes here as well, with 53%, and Ipiranga. Like, this is wild. Tier 8, Tier 9, Tier 10. The fucking Pan-American BBs make the 3 existing ships are all in the top 10 of the most played ships. Hello? Like, that's insane popularity, and every single one of them is over 50% win rate. And Los Andes and Ipiranga are... What? Hello? Hello? Last 3 updates, only then does Schlieffen take over. Bro. Ipiranga is here. Holy fuck, it's so played already. Jesus. I wonder what tier 9 looks like. I'm actually curious. Bro. Tier 8, tier 9. And they told me they balance based on popularity. Did they... Hello? So the reason why they won't buff Zhao is because it's so popular. But the reason they won't nerf these is because what? How can they... Like, they want to have the cake and eat it. The argument for not buffing Zhao and Ibuki and this is because they're popular. But then you look at this shit and they're refusing to nerf them. It makes no fucking sense. The weird thing is that they're willing to nerf the Los Andes quite significantly here. But they're not doing anything about the Libertad? The only ship that really fucks the Libertad is the Colombo, and that's only at range. That's only at range. If you fight the actually semi-competent Libertad that doesn't just give you flat broadside for no fucking reason, he kills everything 1 versus 1. Shit, 1 versus 2 as well. I would love... That's random, so I would love to see ranked. I think you can look at popularity of... I mean, in WoW's numbers, you can look at popularity of ships in ranked. You can only look at last season. But season 21... I mean, it's much worse in ranked than it is anywhere else. Yeah, here you can... this is season 21 ranked statistics. Popularity of Ipiranga, the most played ship in tier 8 ranked. Los Andes, overwhelmingly the most played ship in in silver ranked, in tier 9 ranked, like with an insane fucking win rate. 54% win rate in ranked. Like, fuck, this is insane. These numbers are insane. Like, you need to combine these 3 and you still don't have enough to reach the Los Andes popularity. And the win rate is bonkers. And then, of course, tier 10, to no one's fucking surprise, Libertad is bafflingly, insanely popular and ranked as well. Like, what the fuck? How many do you have to combine here to reach the Libertad? And the only nerf they see for this fucking thing, the only nerf they see that this fucking thing requires is no longer be able to sustain high speed during turns. Okay. Okay. 15.8% of all fucking gold ranked games have fucking Libertad. Actually, no, there's a Libertad in 15.8% of the games. That's the popularity of the ship. So that actually means in every game with 12 players, you're guaranteed to have like almost 1, probably 2. How about giving the thing a citadel? How about giving it some ways to deal with this ship, except everyone just has to load HE and run away? Like, how about giving that option? Cochrane nerf? Really? Was Cochrane overperforming? 80% of Libdar players won't even notice that because they don't touch the rudder. Yeah, exactly. Holy fuck. Main battle real time. Orion nerfed. Okay, was Orion also overperforming? London buff. Okay, London was pretty shit. I played that thing. That thing is trash. Vanguard. Oh, they're giving Vanguard a super heal. Okay. Wait. It's not really that much of a super heal, though. They're just making it much effective at a shorter time. Like they're basically doubling, almost doubling. The double would be 860. So they're giving it a bit more than double, but they're nerfing this duration a lot. I mean, it's probably still a good increase, but I mean, Vanguard's issue is that it's a very squishy hull with 380mm guns, and that's pretty much it. And everything else, this tier just fucks it. So it's over double. Yeah. I mean, it's basically 150% increase in healing, I guess. No, it's not 150. Sorry, because the duration is so much shorter. Maybe the duration is so much shorter. It's maybe like a 25% increase in actual healing. Roughly. 50%? How the fuck do you get 50%? How the fuck do you get 50%, buddy? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, you lose a heal as well. Yeah, oh yeah, you go from 4 to 3. So is it really that much of a buff? It's a 25% buff, roughly, for actual healing, but you lose a heal. And you wait, do you not get faster cooldown on it? Wait, how is this a buff? Because like this, if you do you get faster? I don't think it had fast cooldown on the heal, did it? No, see, well, 60. It's got slightly improved. It's slightly improved, but you lose a heal. Wait, hold up, actually. If you do 28 x 430, this is our total healing for this entire consumable. X4. 48, 160. 48, 160. Huh? Fuck. And then we do... You heal less. How's this a buff? This change has been applied in order to refresh the ship's gameplay and add to the quality of the life when playing on Vanguard. We have opted to reduce the risk of using main guns by improving her healing capabilities. Improving her healing capabilities. With these changes, Vanguard will be able to heal back a larger portion of her HP than before in a fraction of the... Is this dev just demented? Hejsan, jag ringer tillbaka om en stund. Yes, Is this dev just demented? You forgot the extra heal. No? What extra heal? What extra heal? This is stock both. You get 3 heals, 14 seconds. Cunningham and Captain skill. Yeah, but I mean, both of them get heals. Both of them get heals. Like, you need a specific captain and you need to proc it to make it happen. That's not really a buff for the average player at all. It might be like in really good hands, the ship might receive an incremental buff. But then we're also talking, like both get a heal. Both get a heal. So it's not like one of them suddenly shoots ahead. They will both get a heal, and one guy will heal slightly more with the heal. Okay, if you run Superintendent, right? If you run Superintendent, let's see. So the stock heal is 28 times 430 times 1.1 because we're running Superintendent. And you have 5 heals. 66,000 healing, isn't it? Oh, sorry, not Superintendent. It's not Superintendent, it's what the fuck is it called? The skill. So this is if you run the healing skill. So this is the stock one. This is the stock one. And if you spec this on, let's see, 14x 1075, and then you run the captain skill for 10% more duration, and then you have 4 heals. Refresh the ship's gameplay. Improving her healing capabilities. Okay. Wow. Nice buff, Wargaming. Nice one. Nice buff. Nice buff, Wargaming. Huge buff. I can't wait to play Vanguard with this incredible buff. I can't wait. So if you spec for the heal, you'll be able to cycle. You'll be able to cycle it a bit faster. But that's pretty much it. That's the buff. You'll be able to if you don't spec, by the way, for the extra heal, in your captain tree, then it's a nerf. Okay, sure. God, that's actually full on delivered. Yeah. It doesn't even make any sense for the gameplay of the Vanguard, because Vanguard isn't the pushing ship. You don't charge it, like, you can't push into Vanguard. It doesn't have any secondaries. It's got a big fucking set. Like, you play this thing, it's got an exposed even set. It's 32. What are you gonna push into with this thing? Into Bismarcks and whatever, they all kill you. Like, this thing is played mid-long range. You try to go in with this thing and you blow the fuck up. Like, it's got the rudder ship gimmick, but you can't brawl in it because it doesn't have anything for brawling. So, yeah, that's a pretty fucking non-existent change. Yeah, it's got pretty shit AP. It's got improved dispersion, I think, to some extent. I don't remember, slightly better, but the AP itself is very impressive. Leningrad gets a torpedo reload booster. Fair enough. Nice. Reverted previous changes that reduces AA mount survivability. Hooray! That, honestly, this should have happened a long time ago. No one plays Kremlin anymore. And the issue is that on Wargaming you still permanently lose your AA. On Lesta, you keep your AA. They made it so when you DCP, you fucking DCP your broken AA as well. So on Lesta, you keep your AA. On Wargaming, this really doesn't change much, because like now if you're being HE spammed, like you try to push in a Gutenlo, I'll tell you what happens. Or in a Kremlin, you try to push in, and an Utrecht or a Gutenlo drops 1 airstrike on you, which you can't dodge because you're fucking massive, and it breaks all your AA regardless of this nerf being undone. And then after that, you get pinged 50 times by a submarine, and the carrier harasses you until you die. That's the Kremlin experience, unless you're kited. And then why the fuck play Kremlin? So, yeah. Bro, how many Kremlins do we really see played in like randoms nowadays? Not a whole lot, I can tell you that. Main battery reload time buff for Uganda. Yuga gets a nerf. Okay, that was the reload booster tier 7 thing. But it couldn't overmatch, so it still gets... this thing still got fisted by... This thing still got fisted by Synops and shit. Honestly, I don't see much Hugas, but apparently it needed a nerf. Harakaze 2. Wait, wasn't Harakaze 2 the shit Harakaze? Which one was the good Harakaze? There was 2 Harakazes. There's the shit one and the good one. Harakaze 1 is the good one. Harakaze 2 is the dog shit one. Isn't this... You couldn't change guns, so you only have 150mm guns. So instead of penning 25, you now pen 30 with the HE. It's still dog shit. It's still dog shit. It's still complete dog shit. This doesn't change anything. It's absolute dog shit. Hull B, you can't change hulls on Harakaze 2. It's Harakaze 1 where you can change the hulls. Harakaze 1 is the one where you can change to the Akizuki guns with Hull B, which makes you a pretty good destroyer. Like, Harakaze 1 is fine. Harakaze 1 is a fun ship, and it's quite strong. Harakase 2 is absolute dog shit. And this change doesn't help it in any way. It's still complete dog shit. I don't even understand. What was the point of that change? That's literally not going to change anything. Doesn't it have like non-existent DPM or some shit? I don't remember what was the gimmick on it. There's that, there, yeah, look at that. You have less DPM than Ogneboy, and they just gave the Ogneboy a fucking 1.2 second buff to gun reload. What the fuck is gonna give making the pen 5mm better gonna change on this thing? You can't kill anything anyway. It's dog shit. It's complete dog shit. Like what? Huh? And it also has 20-second turret traverse on a destroyer, which they don't address at all. That's also trash. Like it's got 4 torp tubes, 2x4 torp tubes with 2-minute cooldown. This thing is absolute fucking dog shit. The only gimmick it has is the Hydro, but it doesn't really have gun power to use it. And there's so many better Hydro ships than this thing. Like, this thing is terrible, and this change isn't going to change anything about that. It's still going to be terrible. Gimmick was German Hydra with Kagero concealment. Yeah, but it can't use it. That's the problem. Well, it doesn't really do anything with it. Texas. Added defensive AA fire consumable with the following parameters. Did Texas have any flak? I don't think Texas had flak. Did it have any flak? I don't think it had any flak. Do I misremember? No, it doesn't have any flak at all. So what the fuck is this defensive AA gonna help then? You get 50% continuous AA damage, but your continuous AA damage is hampered entirely by the fact that you have 70% accuracy on it and only 3.5 km AA range. Yeah, they took away the flak, didn't they? They didn't used to have flak, or like much better AA range. Then they nerfed the fuck out of it. That's not gonna change much. Like, no, you still don't want to play Texas, which is a shame because I love the history of the ship, and I love what it used to be, but nowadays, it's still completely unplayable. It had mid-range flag, yeah. When they removed mid-range flag, they completely butchered it. That's what happened. To play, get a better main battery reload booster. Wow, Rehade gets 8 ASW instead of 6. This honestly wasn't a whole lot of actual changes, was it? Like, the biggest change here is the Los Andes DPM, secondary DPM nerf. That's the biggest nerf. That's the actual biggest change. Libertad, for some reason, isn't touched at all. This is non-existent change. Leningrad get a torp reload booster is fun, but it's tier 7. I don't really play a whole lot of tier 7. I'm not going to suddenly start playing Kremlin because the AA mount survivability went up. Like, this isn't going to change anything. This isn't changing anything. I mean, Delny with a smoke, better smoke. And these changes were strange as well. Honestly, I might play some Cleveland. Because Cleveland was already really good. I might play some Cleveland or Helena, because they were both really good, and now they're going to be even better. But this is also kind of... This was a really big devblog when you consider that ultimately it actually, in terms of gameplay, it changed very little. Like, this is... The highlight of this entire devblog is this. But I don't understand why the same thing isn't being done to the Libertad. Am I wrong? Like, did you guys see something big change here that I missed? Something like, wow, Flamu, you totally missed out on this huge change. Like, am I missing something? Because I feel like this was kind of a big fucking nothing burger. This is like the water line. It's kind of like the water line. Like, oh, here's our water line, and you open it, and it's like, bro, where's the content? Los Andes nerf isn't that significant with the captain. I mean, it's still a DPM nerf. It doesn't change the fact that the thing is unkillable, and the thing can still give you flat broadside and not be punished with because of the mintedly insane armor on the thing. Like, this doesn't change its insane survivability at all. All it does is means it melts you a bit slower. Which is a step in the right direction, but that's pretty much it. It's still going to be insanely good, though. Don't get me wrong, it's still going to be insanely good, because it can shatter all the HE from the other secondary ships. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, you're just immune to everyone else's secondaries, so who gives a shit? Like, who gives a shit? Alright. Like, these have what? 38? 26? FDG, like these are all 26, 38. Like that's the pin on the Germans, and then you have Los Andes. They just gave it fucking 51mm armor. Like, it just shatters the secondaries. Funny, like it just shatters it, and it's got it all over the. And this is what secondaries automatically target the Citadel, so they aim here, so you can just sit there and just shatter all the secondaries. You take no damage. You take no fucking damage at all. And then if you get caught broadside, I mean, you got 51mm outer layer, followed by an internal layer, which is another 381mm. So we're already like at what, 432? And then behind that you got another 51. So you're at fucking 483mm of armor. And this isn't like Citadel. You'd think this is Citadel. It probably was at one point, but then they made it so it's not. So the actual Citadel is like down here, only this thing. And you have to punch through 480mm of triple layered angled. Note that it's also angled. So you have to punch through different angles and layers of armor to reach the Citadel. And the thickest part is the most angled one, so the effective armor is actually a lot higher. So we're talking 480 triple layered, super tanky, and like you can't touch it. And then we take Iowa, something that was historically a pretty damn well armored ship with pretty modern technologies and shit, and you compare it, and Iowa is like the Torpedo Belt 32 followed by a SIP 297. So this is what? This is 330, 329. 329mm Citadel protection versus 483 triple layered Citadel protection. It's like, really? Like, really? Does it need that much armor, Wargame? Does it really need to have that much fucking armor? Is it necessary? Like, at least these things are so big and high above the water as the Pommer. They're hard to sit, but they're big and above the water, so they eat massive pens and shit. But fucking this Los Andes just sits like a submarine in the water as well. And it handles like a god as well. I mean, we didn't even talk about that, but like, other ships with 17.3 second rudder. Whereas this fucking Los Andes 10.4 second rudder, like, just insane. Just insane. And I mean, at least when the Germans go nose in, like, if a Ruprecht, Heinrich, whatever, is fucking walking into you, if Heinrich walks into you and you're a battleship, all you need to do is aim at the nose. You aim here, and what happens is you overmatch this entire part of his ship, get full pens, and you hit his superstructure, get full pens, and you might even break his turrets and everything. Like, shooting here just completely fucks his ship up, because, shit, if you got 457s, like so many ships have now, you just overmatch his icebreaker as well. So anywhere you click on the nose, on the Ruprecht, you just punch through and you evaporate him. And of course he handles much worse. I mean, again, Ruprecht, well, this is stock rudder, but Ruprecht just handles much worse. But then Los Andes is just fucking flat out 32mm of plating. Like, you can't overmatch that unless you're a Yamato. The whole design is so insane. So fucking insane. It makes no fucking sense. Ruprecht is so trash versus Los Andes. Oh yeah, it's fucking complete suffering. It's complete fucking suffering to play into it, bro. The thing is, you can tell that this was where they originally put the Cit. You see this? You see how there's a layer here? This used to be the Citadel at one point. This thing. This would have been like a punishable ship broadside. And then they put it into testing, and despite the rudder and the armor and everything, a lot of potatoes were blowing themselves up. So then at some point they just decided, you know what? This is actually the citadel down here. And then it became impossible to hit. And then it sold like hotcakes. God bless. Yeah, no, this is... Yikes. Well, that was certainly some devblogs. That changed very little. That was a lot of text for ultimately very little gameplay actually changes. Fuck, I was kind of hyped as well, because I would have loved for, like, maybe Worcester getting some cool buffs. Pan American BBs actually being nerfed. Soviet Tech Tree getting a smoke. That's fine. That's probably the best of them. But ultimately, kind of a nothing burger.